Hey everyone, my name is Spencer Bauke and I'm here with the solutions video for week 41 of Workout Wednesday Power BI Edition. This week we're going to be looking at the Mapbox Maps custom mapping in Power BI Desktop and showing you how to use that custom visual. So if you go into this week's challenge, you can come down and you can see an example of what we're going to be making today. You can also come down and see the requirements. So we're going to be using the Superstore data set that we've used a couple times before in these challenges. So it shouldn't be too foreign to those who have done a couple of these challenges before. So let's get started with our report. So I brought in the data already and I went and made a couple little changes here. Bringing the first row to header. Some of these things don't necessarily read exactly right in Power BI. So now what I'm going to do is with my lat long, this is a export of the city and state latitude and longitude for each of the city-state combinations. Now in my orders table, I don't necessarily have a city-state field already for me. So what I'm going to do is, in order to create the relationship between these two, I'm actually going to add a little custom column here real quick. And I'm going to call it city state. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to say city, and then I'm just going to put a little space, and then I'm going to say state. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to do the exact same thing. Oh, got a little error here. Oh, decided to bring in the wrong syntax here. It's ampersand, not plus. So now I'm going to come in here to orders, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a field that says city state. I just know that this is what I'm going to create that relationship on. I'm going to say OK. That's going to be my city space state. I'm going to load this data into my data model. So while that loads, I'm going to introduce Mapbox Studio to you. I do suggest, because it's going to be required for this week, that you go and create an account on Mapbox Studio so that you're able to get the authentication token, which I'll show you here in a second. You come down and you get the access token, and you're able to use that to bring in the visuals that you want to bring in. So first, let's just make sure my data model is setting up correctly. So I have my orders here. My lat long. I need to kind of do a little bit of adjusting here. So this is not right. Although there is a region in person that I don't want it related to the latitude and longitude. I do in fact want city state and city state to be the active relationship. Then returns, I can do order ID to order ID. Although we're not going to be using that table, I do want to make sure that we at least set it up right. Go. Okay, there we go. So we got my orders, my latitude, longitude, my returns. Great. So now what I'm going to do, and this is the last bit of housekeeping that we have to do, is we need to create a measure that gives us the profit margin, because that's what we're going to be using to do a lot of our coloring and sizing and stuff of our charts today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the divide function, and I'm going to sum my profit, and I'm going to use the divide function, so sum profit over sum of my sales. And that is going to give me my profit margin calculation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building out my report. So let's first insert. I always like starting with creating the title. Gives me a good starting place. I'm just going to say Mapbox Maps. And this is week 41. Workout Wednesday challenge. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Space is So make this a tiny bit smaller. There we go. So that is my title page here. So bring that in. Sweet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first Mapbox visual. So if you go into the the app source, excuse me, you can get more visuals here. You can come in and you can search for Mapbox. You're going to find that Mapbox visual. Now I already installed it, so it's already installed on my Power BI desktop. But just click here, get it now, and it's going to install that on your visualizations. So if I go here and click it, nothing really shows up here at first. But let's say I want to start mapping some items on my launch table. Let's say city state. Well, now you can see that there's some items here that we need to do. These instructions pop up, so you have to follow these in order to properly populate the fields in your visualizations pane. So you can click here. If you've already set up your Mapbox token, then you're good to go. You don't need to do that again. But if you haven't, click there and it'll take you to the proper pages. So copy your access token from the link above, paste your Mapbox access token in the Power BI Viz format panel, add latitude and longitude or location and color fields to your Viz, select a map style, etc., etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this format pane and you go to Viz settings, just like it says here, into the format panel on Viz settings. You can see that we have the access token there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take my access token from my Mapbox account. I'm going to paste it in there. So now I have locations in here. It asked me to do latitude and longitude, so I'm going to do that right now. So latitude and my longitude, and now it'll give me a visualization. It's kind of hard to see. Let me blow that up a little bit. So cool, you can see that there's those dots on there. Let's see if we can change the color a little bit. So circles. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that profit margin calculation we just did, and we're going to add that to color. So we're going to want to use that to color. And we're going to want to use that to size. Except we realize that when we do size, if we had a negative profit margin, it's going to be really, really small. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to use an absolute value of our profit margin to color, excuse me, to size the visual. Say absolute profit margin. I'll say yep. Now I'm going to bring that in there to size instead. So there we go. Okay. Cool. So now let's go back to formatting this visualization, this Mapbox map. So you can actually do some cool things in here. So you can go to Viz settings. You can use any of the map styles that they have in here. So dark is pretty cool. There's streets. There's different ones that you can do in here. It's really cool. The thing I want to show you today is you can actually, so again, you could do traffic dark. There's a lot of things you can do, and then when you zoom in, because the maps are from Mapbox, you'll zoom in, you'll see all the little details that you'll see on a Mapbox map, which is super, super cool. So now what I want to show you is custom, right? So if I put custom here, now you can enter in your own style URL. So here's the thing that makes this really cool, is that if you want to learn Mapbox and you want to go figure some more stuff out in Mapbox, you can actually go and customize your own visual. So I've actually done that here with one that's called Dark US Copy. And so what I'm going to do is in the three dots here on the right hand side, it's giving me a style URL. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to copy that style right into here. And it's going to give me the type of map that I created. Now this looks, this looks a little off right now, but we're going to get to customizing it here in a second. So let's look at some of the things that are on. Like if we turn off our background, right, we can make this a little cleaner. If we turn off that little geocoder, we can make it cleaner. Let's see here. We go to the circles. We can kind of have them, we can adjust how big they are. We can adjust the colors. Let's make this like a little bit bigger of dots, right? And then what we can do is we can adjust that radius of how big they are. And so let's adjust the circle size here. So you can do labels. Yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff here. So here, let's look at these circles. Minimum 1, 0. So that's for the coloring. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. Sweet. So, size, absolute value. Okay, that's great. So let's make them all a little bit smaller. Actually, now that I'm seeing this. Yeah, kind of differentiate them a little bit better. So now what I'm going to do is, these colors aren't that good, so we'll do like red for loss, or maybe a little brighter red for loss. We'll go kind of want to do like a lime green for the gain. Then the center, we'll do kind of like a gray. There you go. All right, that works. We can actually turn on this background. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I kind of like this. Oh, there you go. So we kind of turn the background that matches the background of the map, then we can kind of do a cool visual effect. And now if we do the page background, we can actually even match the color of the map to make it really look cool. There we go. I like that a lot. So now let's color this text white. Boom. Now we're working with something here. So we got this map, and we can fix the title on it. So we're going to say city by profit margin. That's the title. I like the little Sego, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but this one. Then we're going to color that white, font color white. Sweet. So that is our map. That's our map. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to do it, but there's different types of maps. You can create the choropleth map, and then that's going to allow you to have the filled states instead of the actual just dots for latitude and longitude. So you can do that as well. In this case, we're just doing the dots, but the overall takeaway is to see how you integrate Mapbox with it. And so now we're just going to go and create the bar chart part of the requirements to help you filter. And I really like the filtering on this. I think it's pretty cool. So if we come here and we say region, we say state, we'll start with a region first. And then what we'll do is we'll find our profit margin, compare values. Sorry, we'll start with region, then go down to state. But what we can do is we can enable the drill down. What we can do, we can kind of set this to the same sort of color scheme per se as the map itself. So oh, that's the title, sorry. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So now what we can do is we can we're going to color this by our profit margin. If you didn't see how I did that, there's this little FX button right here, right? And you can adjust the rules right here. So I remember we did our lowest value here. Our highest value is kind of like a lime green. We're not going to match exactly, but we'll get it in the neighborhood. We'll get in the neighborhood. There we go. All right, so now I kind of want to turn this legend off. I'm not really cool with it. And then what we're going to say is we're going to say profit margin by region slash state. So when I say region slash state, let's format that real quick. So the font color is white. Let's make it a semi-bold here. All right, I think it's 14 for the other one. All right, so now if I come here and click down, now what that's going to allow me to do is that's going to filter for that western region. And so you can see the map adjust accordingly. It's pretty cool. So if you go east, now you're just looking at east, right? And now you can dig in even further and just click on Massachusetts. Oh, hold on. I wonder if, on Massachusetts here. So now you're just looking at Massachusetts. If you want to drill up, okay, now we're just looking at central. If you want to drill down into central, you can right click and drill down, and then you can click, and now you're looking at Oklahoma. Right, so you can kind of zoom in, zoom out. It's really cool. So it seems like Illinois has like a lot of negative ones. Oh yeah, I mean, and as we set this up, you should be able to see that they do. Illinois and Texas actually have negative profit margins. So you can go and click on Illinois and see, okay, what's going on here? So we can hover over. Oh, and now what we should do, lastly, is we should put the city-state into the tooltip. Same with the profit margin. So now we can see what's going on. Oh, you know what? I put that in the wrong tooltip. 1 second. I put that in the other one. So let's look at city state. Put that in the tooltip. All right. So let's do it again. Illinois. Hover over. Okay. That city: Rockford, Freeport, Champaign. All right. So there's some ones, that with negative profit margins. But again, then to click out to the region, you unfilter, and then you drill back up. And now you have your report with your Mapbox map. Now, this isn't all that the Mapbox maps can do, but hopefully this gives you an idea of some of the possibilities that Mapbox and its integration will allow you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped walk you through some of the requirements for week 41 of Workout Wednesday Power BI Edition. Please let us know if you have any questions or issues on completing this challenge. You can tag us on Twitter, and you can, hopefully from this video, figure out what you need to figure out. But if not, make sure to let us know and we can explain a little bit further. But thank you all so much for participating. Hopefully this was helpful, and I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next week for week 42. Bye.